So to start our breakdown of Chapter 2 of The Mandalorian and The Mandalorian Rewatch, I kind of want to just play a little game with you, Mac, before we get started.
Yeah.
And I think the people want to know this too. I'm curious. Who's your favorite character from The Mandalorian who is not The Mandalorian or Grogu?
Oh, okay. So Din and Grogu off the table.
Off the table. You can't choose them.
Anybody else? We doing all seasons?
All seasons.
Man, so this is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
I've got there's my gut has an answer, and I'm just gonna go with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Armorer.
I knew you would say that.
I'm gonna go with the Armorer. I think she represents just so many additions to Mandalorian lore and treating that aspect of the Star Wars galaxy with some mystery, putting the mysticism into Mandalorian culture and stuff like that. And I love how she represents, guidance and authority in a culture, but then that can be protagonistic or antagonistic towards Din too.
Yeah.
While
that's a good point.
She's a super consistent character, I think value wise, like she's committed, she knows what she's about, like her loyalty is not terribly wavering or anything like that, but
yeah.
And so how that comes into play with Din and everything he's doing, and how they are at odds or working together at different times, that stuff's just so interesting to me.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I mean, I think she is one of the more fascinating characters in the entire show. Like, we don't know really anything about her.
Right. We've got some theories of who she could have been in a past life and stuff like that. Rook Cast is a big candidate.
Zabrak, as you used to claim.
And
or still do.
Zabrak. I still do. I mean,
you still claim
innocent
that.
Until proven guilty,
I do know. Okay, I think that's a great answer. And I think a lot of people would answer the Armorer. I'm going to go with, now many people probably would expect me to say Toro Calican.
Mm-hmm.
I was tempted to say that. I think 95% of our audience would be mad at me for saying that.
I mean, follow your heart, Alex. Don't let anybody tell you what to do.
There is a painting of Toro Calican above me right now.
Uh-huh.
That's how much I love that character. But I don't think love the character. I just love that episode and how silly it makes.
The meme of it. You like?
I do. I like the joke. It's a running bit. Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to admit it? It's a running bit. I think other people might expect me to say blue helmet, white stripe on the left side from season 3.
Yep.
I'm tempted to say that as well, but I'm not going to. My real answer is Cobb Vanth.
Big deal there. What's your particular reasoning?
When we get to the season 2 premiere, which I think we're going to have some special guests on that one. When we get to that one, I don't know, there's just the leap, number one, from book to screen was just an incredible experience for us because we're huge fans of those particular books in Star Wars, the Aftermath trilogy. And he was one of the standout characters from those books.
Exactly.
But then to see him actually come to life by Timothy Oliphant, it was incredible. He was actually cooler than he was in the books.
Yeah. It's one of those instances where what you imagined in your head when you were reading actually wasn't as cool as what they could dream up for the screen, basically.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. That's a big pull.
And just I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it. You get ready.
I'm ready. I'm braced.
I think he looks better in Boba Fett armors than Boba Fett does.
That's fine. I'll I'll let you let you have that opinion. I like the way he's got like the red bandana and stuff he wears with it.
He's got that popsicle rocket on the back of his.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes
just
there's something
so cool.
There's something very Wild West about the way he wears the armor.
It's the way he walks too.
Yeah.
I think I have a crush on Cobb.
Yeah. I mean,
who doesn't?
Yeah. For sure. Well, you are listening to Children of the Watch. I'm Matt Lacey.
And I'm Alex Maxwell, and we are continuing the Mandalorian Rewatch with Chapter 2, The Child. To prepare for the next Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, we are rewatching every single episode of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. If you're new to our podcast, we break down every single episode of Star Wars television, scene by scene, to analyze the story, find comfort Easter eggs, and explain how it all connects to the larger Star Wars universe. And that's what we're going to be doing this week with Chapter 2, The Child. But then we also want to hear from you guys. Last week we heard in our voicemail something so incredible about Sabine and the Darksaber, and then also Tar Vizsla, and maybe how that impacted how young the Jedi could be when they're trained. Incredible voicemail. We want more of that. So call into our voicemail hotline, 205-259-6675. That's 205-259-6675. I remembered this time.
Boom.
Because I was reading it.
It's like we've had the same number for like 5 years.
6. Yes, it is like that. So yeah, call in and you could make it on next week's episode, which would be really, really cool. Your insight is needed. We want to hear from you guys. You can also follow us on social media at COT Watch on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram. Verified on Instagram. Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, I don't know why
we're basically a big deal is what we're trying to say.
I mean, whatever. You can pay
Verified
for
on
it.
Instagram. I mean, you know.
We didn't. So yeah, you can check us out over there, and we would love to engage with you over there. And then we've got our Patreon, where we've got our incredible Discord and community over there, and over 100 bonus episodes. We've got 300 plus episodes on the general feed. You could get another 100 episodes.
Boom.
On the Patreon, patreon.com/The Mandalorian Watch. It's just $2 a month. And you know what? We had a guy once call in, and he said, I once paid too much for a cocktail. It was $24. And I was sitting there thinking, this is not a very good cocktail. I could have had a whole year's worth of Patreon content from Children of the Watch for that price.
Instead of the bad cocktail.
And he is one of the activist members of our Discord, and he's incredible. He actually brought a ton of people into our pit. We owe him big time, that guy. Yeah. So
shout out.
You can either have a bad cocktail, or you could be on the Patreon.
Yeah. So take that for what you will. But all that said, we do have an episode to get to. You can follow us on all the social media stuff, do the Patreon, like Alex said.
I think we should get into this.
Let's get into Chapter 2.
Let's get into it. So the air date for this one was November 15th, 2019. It was just a few days after the initial episode. So the initial episode came out on a Tuesday with the launch of Disney+.
Yeah.
And then this episode came out that Friday.
Yeah.
And I remember that too, because we actually recorded our initial breakdown of Chapter 2 in person with each other.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was cool because we had, it was new Star Wars week. We were both all hyped up and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can hear it in our voices.
Yeah, for sure. So the release schedule is interesting. Nowadays we're so used to there being a double premiere or a triple premiere. In the case of Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi had 3 episodes, right?
2, I think.
2, okay. Well, we're used to kind of these simultaneous. There's multiple episodes to watch right when a show premieres, and I think for a lot of shows that works and is needed. And like the Book of Boba Fett, I think didn't have
it should
a double and should have. However, The Mandalorian, I think the release schedule it had can't be beat. Because that first episode, it's a little bit longer than most episodes end up being. You know, there was so much meat to chew on there. It's not like you needed anything additional to want you to keep watching the show. You know, that cliffhanger of a baby Yoda being in the show, like, you know, you're gonna keep watching. And so then you've got a few days in the office to talk about the premiere of The Mandalorian in that first episode. But then before the weekend even hits, you get another installment, and it's episode 2, and it's you know, a fantastic follow up, and tells you that, you know, the rest of the show is going to be just as good. So I really think the premiere for The Mandalorian was something special. They really had it timed out perfect, and the release schedule suited the content really well.
Dude, it was so good. It was so good, and then like. I also miss them coming out on Friday mornings like they were. Like it would drop like at 3 a.m. Friday morning.
We'd wake up
and watch them.
The middle of the night and watch them and record before getting to work and stuff like that.
But here's the thing, Mac. Like I kind of miss that because like there was an aspect of like, okay, you could see it before everybody else was. There's something kind of exciting about that. Like before most people will watch it, you're watching it. There's a fun aspect to that. I've never been so hyped on a Friday morning at that time ever. Yeah. Every Friday morning. But it also like I liked it being on Friday and like having Saturday to recover from it and sleep in from podcasting and stuff. Yeah. It's like honestly, I miss that schedule a lot. Now it's Tuesday nights.
Yep.
Tuesday nights, and so it's like midweek, and I guess that's fine. But
it's okay.
I am nostalgic about the way they released this.
Yeah. Friday felt like event must-see TV in the way that like movies, HBO shows coming out on Sunday night. It feels like this prime time, like people across the country are sitting down to watch TV right now. I felt like that, like with The Mandalorian on Fridays, that was the most of that we had for Star Wars, I think.
Yeah, so that came out on Friday, November 15th, and then the director was Rick Famuyiwa, and the writer, once again, was Jon Favreau. And I'm just going to go ahead and say from the get-go, low-key, one of my favorite episodes of The Mandalorian is this one. And I think it's because it's just so well-directed.
Yeah. First outing of Rick Famuyiwa for The Mandalorian and Star Wars in general, and then he becomes such a... He's so integral to the series now. He's been handed some of the most important episodes to direct, I think, at this point. But this is where it all starts. He's got a particular sense for action and that kind of stuff, but also just all the dialogue scenes and the pacing of this episode is particularly well executed. The sophomore release of something is always important because it shows that I think anybody can put out a really amazing pilot for an amazing show, but then following that up and actually keeping that quality consistent is the harder part, and that starts with episode 2. Yeah. And I think this episode 2 was certainly up to the challenge.
Dude, it was so awesome. Lots of lingering shots in this one. I think he's really good at the visual storytelling aspect of everything. And I want to say too, like they developed the volume for this show, right? They created the volume for this show. I think they do the volume the best, like out of anyone.
Yeah, it's been the best use of the volume we've seen. I think for certain shows, we've seen the volume become a crutch to production. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think, suffers from that the most. Great show and everything. Just like had more effects problems than any of the other shows and stuff like that. But for The Mandalorian, it never feels like a compromise. It feels like a enhancement. Like it feels like, no, we need the best of both worlds for this show. So we're going to have them and utilize them both. We need that real, practical, hands-on feel, but also like we need to simulate these fantastical otherly worlds.
I think what they do that's so impressive is I never feel like I'm seeing something that's fake.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have a pretty keen eye on picking up on that stuff, or like, it kind of feels janky a little bit. Never do I feel that in these first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, especially in this one. It just feels like, I feel like he's really on Arvala 7 the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. I can never see where the seams are. Like, I can't tell you where the actual sand and stuff they've put on the floor ends and where the digital background begins and stuff like that. I think they do such a good job of with lighting and all the practical additions to those kind of sets. They do a great job of just making it feel so tactile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So good on the Mandalorian for utilizing the volume.
Yeah. Which they created. So the episode opens on Arvala 7, and Din is walking back to the Razor Crest with Grogu, who we don't know his name Grogu yet. He's just the child at
We
this
don't know
point.
Din's name at this point.
Yeah, he's just the Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, yeah.
Yeah, the Mandalorian and child are walking back to the Razor Crest. And this is we really get to see Grogu for the first time in a real way in this shot of like him in the pram, his big ears, his big eyes, very expressive. And this is our first indicator of him. And I think that's also a really important thing that Rick had to do in this episode is like make him believable too.
Well, he set the precedent with how everyone was going to be working with this the puppet, the animatronic, the everything that Grogu is, all the many things that come together to present that character on screen. Just getting in the workflow with everyone else in the production and everything is a huge job, because Grogu can look as believable and realistic as possible, but if it doesn't feel real when people are interacting with him, that it all falls apart. So like you said, huge directing challenge there, and Rick does it well.
Yeah, he does it so well. Also, I love how the ground is muddy. Yeah, we haven't seen it rain on Arvala yet, but we do get torrential downpours. There's no notes on that. I just like that little detail. I just wanted to say it. I like that it's not. I like that it's not totally dry desert planet. It rains here. It's just maybe too close to the sun. I don't know what the deal is, but I like that. Okay, get off my back, Mac. Jeez, God.
I'm not yelling at you.
I felt it. They're ambushed by 3 Trandoshan bounty hunters, which they kind of redesigned Trandoshans for this show, like made their snout smaller. And I prefer this new look over the original look of Bosk and stuff.
Yeah, I do too. They feel more grounded in this world, and I mean, I like the big bombastic lizard folks running around too in the original trilogy.
Of course, you would say that there are overlords, and you're just trying to.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not on their bad side.
I'm just kidding, everyone. Relax. We're not that kind of podcast.
Yeah, but especially when it's not a character who's like a main lead character, it makes sense to kind of under design them a little bit to help blend into the world. So.
Right. And they're also wielding some gnarly looking vibro axes, I might add, which like you can see them shaking as they're moving and wielding them. Din has no issue taking them out. He kills them with his ambient phase pulse blaster.
Oh.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like
getting the technical jargon out there.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Look at my research. So we, at the end of that,
I'm withholding so many jokes right now because
no, don't withhold. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say no. We're a family friendly. We're
maturing.
We are. We're maturing. Nope. Let's keep it rolling.
No. I was doing the gym thing again. I was saying no, we're not actually maturing, but whatever. Whatever you want to say, Mac, it's fine. You don't want to say
Is
it. Okay.
it fine? It doesn't seem like I'm trying to exercise self-preservation here, which I know is not an impulse we normally act upon on this show.
I'm going to see if I can get you to stop doing that throughout this episode.
All right.
Okay. So after he disintegrates one of the Trandoshans, the final one right in front of Grogu, we zoom in on the tracking fob lying on the ground, beeping, beeping, beeping. We talked about that a little bit last week with like, how do those work? Is it DNA related? Nobody knows. It would have to be. It would have to be something biological. It just makes no sense.
Like, it would make so much more sense for it to be connected to the pram. The pram's giving off a transponder signal or something like that. But
And just
also,
take 'em out of
like
the
you
pram.
pointed out,
Yeah.
In the opening scene, he's following a tracking fob for somebody who's not in a pram. So that can't be it.
It can't be it.
If it was, if maybe it can be attached to somebody's data pad that they're carrying, like somebody tracking someone's phone.
But you would think Din would know to get rid of that so that other bounty hunters aren't after Grogu. So it has to be biological.
That's the best explanation we've got.
So then the question is, how'd they get Grogu's blood? I think there's indication that Pershing has already worked on Grogu before.
Yes. Yeah,
probably
I
in
think
Mount
that's-
Tantus.
Yeah.
From the Bad Batch, season 3 finale.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's safe to say. Probably maybe using some prior test samples and stuff to track you're doing the robot.
Okay. Later that evening, Grogu watches.
Keep it together, Alex. We got about 40 more minutes to get through.
So late. Grogu watches as Din tries to sear a wound on his left arm. And I think he's just using a hydro spanner to close up the wound.
I almost got he was like welding it. Like he was using something that would normally be using for welding to like cauterize the wound shut. I don't know.
Not a good idea. What he needs is a graft.
Yep.
He needs a skin graft. One of my best friends does that, and they sell that. So maybe Grogu could go in that business. Grogu's grafts, because Grogu gets out and tries to reach to him, and now we understand, having seen all of season 1, what he's trying to do. And when we initially see this, we have no idea what he's trying to do. We think he's just reaching up for him. We kind of get the indication that maybe he's trying to help him with the wound.
Yeah.
But Din doesn't get that. Like, he doesn't understand that. So he puts him up, and then he starts to work on his chest plate. Once again, Grogu reaches out, gets out, and reaches up to his arm. Din's just had enough and just shuts him in the pram. Just like, no, kid, I'm locking the door. You can't get out. Which
I'm going to pretend like you don't exist. Like, he hasn't fully taken on that like fatherly role yet. So he's just like, yeah, this is a problem I have right now that I can kind of just forget about if I can out of sight, out of mind.
Sorry, kid, I'm just gonna shut this door.
Which, like, obviously you shouldn't do with children, but that's not how he views Grogu yet. So.
Not yet. The next day, they trek across the landscape and come up on the Razor Crest, just absolutely being picked apart by Jawas. Here's the thing. Din doesn't even think about what to do. He just takes out his rifle, aims, and starts disintegrating Jawas left and right. And then my favorite part of it is Grogu leans in a little and is like, what the... Like, just totally like, who is this guy? Should he be looking after me? I don't think this is
like,
good.
Did I get adopted by a Sith? Like, what's happening? Like, I've only heard about people like this in warning tales of caution that the Jedi have told me.
But his eyes get so big when he sees the Jawas just disappear.
Well, and they're just like not there after an instant, right? It's like they're there one instant and they're not there anymore.
Their clothes are there.
It's like, I wonder if when Obi-Wan basically became one with the Force in A New Hope, when he's facing off against Darth Vader and his robe just falls, if Darth Vader's like, is there a Mandalorian in here that just
Boba?
disintegrated this guy? Like,
what has happened there?
But it definitely makes sense why in Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader has to go to Boba Fett and say no disintegrations. because this is not great for if you want to be able to prove that you even if you killed someone for a bounty, this is not how you do it. What body are you going to bring in?
Right, you're just going to bring your cloak in.
Like Den can bring you in warm, or he can bring you in cold, or he can not bring you in at all because you were like returned to the individual chemical elements that make up your body. Like
you got three choices here. Yeah, it's just so funny to me because it's almost like whenever you're like killing moths, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just that puff of smoke that just. It's also very just sad. Like those Jawas had families,
exactly, and like I love Jawas too. So it is this like moment of cognitive dissonance where you're like, this is not what I expected the protagonist of this series to be doing. But I guess we need to adjust our expectations.
Well, that's the thing is like I think that's an indicator of like, yeah, this isn't Luke Skywalker.
Exactly.
This is someone who has a very different moral code. He does have a moral code, but it's not what you're used to.
Like it does not prohibit just unexisting some Jawas.
Yeah, unaliving, I think is what we say.
That's just what people say because they don't want to say killed.
Yeah, I
think this is such a tangent. I think that's doing something bad to our culture and our society. I think we're becoming not cool with the realities of mortality in a way. I know that like we've started doing that really because to like bypass censorship and stuff like that.
Right.
But death is such an important part of the human condition and not something to be like feared illogically and stuff like that, So I do think saying like unalived and things like that is bad for humanity.
I'm sorry, Mac. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hope you felt that I was directing that only at you for what you did in that instance, because that's exactly what I was.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That's what I felt.
No, that's such a weird tangent. Let me know what you think about that, listeners, because I that's a real thought I have.
It's actually, but it's real. It's deep, and you have deep thoughts, Mac, and I don't. So
sometimes I have real shallow thoughts too. Like, oh, I'd look so cool if I was a little more jacked.
You are jacked.
That's a shallow thought. Oh, I'm getting there. I'm not right now.
Listen, when you guys see us at Star Wars Celebration,
we're gonna be so ripped.
Let's go.
We're gonna have to rename Star Wars Celebration the Gun Show. Boom! Look at that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
Gun show. You can only see that on YouTube.
If you too, listener, want tickets to the gun show, go to youtube.com/Children of the Watch. I don't even know if that's our real URL, but look up Children of the Watch on YouTube and find this video, and you can watch Alex doing some Arnold posing.
All right, so they begin to retreat onto their sandcrawler, the Jawas.
Yeah.
We went from a so serious conversation to that. How did we do that? Okay.
That's what we do here on Children of the Watch.
Oh my gosh. So they begin to retreat onto their sandcrawler and the chase begins. And it's just an on foot pursuit. My question is, what is Din's goal? Is he just going to get on there and murder everyone? Is that his plan? Like, I'm going to catch up with the sandcrawler, crawl in, and kill everyone inside?
I guess. I mean, he could probably. If that's,
yeah, I would imagine that he could, but he doesn't. So,
he doesn't.
Because Jawas are resourceful.
Yeah. They're scrappy little scavengers.
They are. Also, we learned in the Art of books before doing this, the reason that these Jawas' eyes are red is because of their diet.
Yeah, it's like flamingos eating the shrimp and becoming pink. Mm-hmm. I like that.
I do too. So Din climbs up the service ladder, and then we get this cool little Indiana Jones sequence here. They're tossing the kitchen sink at him, literally.
Literally.
As he's trying to
I think the sandcrawler sink went out the window.
Yeah. And he finally makes it to the top after chucking one of them off the roof. Just poor guy.
We're not. There's not a whole lot of reverence for the sanctity of Jawa life in this episode
at all. At all. And if I were a Star Wars creator, like I was making a story and I'm building a Star Wars crew for my story, a Jawa is going to be a part of the crew. Just so you know.
Yeah.
He's going to be the mechanic. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, he gets up there. They all have their ion blasters ready. They shoot him and he falls to the ground. By the way, they have ion blasters. They don't shoot to kill him. They stun him, essentially.
Yeah. Like, they're showing him some humanity that he's not affording them.
So he falls all the way to the ground. Grogu's pram finally catches up with him. And then once he wakes, they return to the Razor Crest. Not knowing what else to do, they head to the Razor Crest and check it out. The Jawas took everything. Like, there's not even wiring in there anymore.
Yeah. It is, the thing's stripped. It's gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even watertight. It can't even be like a stationary structure anymore.
Yeah. So they're stranded. So they head back through the desert towards Kuiil's farm, where he is repairing a moisture evaporator. Kuiil casually mentions, "Oh, I thought you totally died, but it's good to see you alive." Thank you for the vote of confidence. The Ugnaught then studies Grogu and is surprised by all the fuss about him. Like, oh, this is what everyone's been coming and dying for, is this little thing? And so they have this back and forth conversation, and Din confirms he was the asset. And Kuiil understands why Grogu was wanted alive eventually when he starts to think about it. Except he wasn't from the client, right? Like, IG-11 was sent to kill him.
Yeah, well, like, we don't know exactly who contracted IG-11 or why.
Probably the client.
I think the theory that Werner Herzog contracted him kind of to, pull the rug out from under Gideon in some way, some internal power struggles going on. But I mean, the client is, or like the asset, it has been wanted alive. I think Quill's been watching people go to this place and fail and die for a long time, Like, Din's not the first person that's come this way looking for Grogu. No. So I think IG-11 might have just been the final nail in the coffin. Like, and also at this point, it's probably been a few days since, since like Din has like returned. Like episode 1 probably takes 3 or 4 days, maybe. Like, he has to do the whole sequence of learning to ride the blurgs and getting out there. So like, it could have been that the client's just like, we haven't heard from Din. It's been 3 days. I guess he, like,
True.
Even the most expensive bounty hunter we can send can't bring this thing back alive. So let's just send this droid to be done with it,
and then bring in the body.
So that's an alternative.
I like that one.
Line of thinking.
I like that. You're very wise, Mac, and that's why we love you.
Basically Yoda. That's not true. I'm so much more like Anakin in the wisdom department.
No, I was gonna say the owl from Skeleton Crew is the vibe that you give.
Okay, I'll take that. That's fair.
You like that?
I like that. I can't remember the owl's name.
Me neither.
I need to rewatch Skeleton Crew.
I've only watched that
once for the show.
Yeah, for the show. Yeah,
I think it's the only TV show I haven't rewatched outside of our coverage, and not for any reason. I love that show.
It's just Andor came.
We got busy.
Andor happened. So yeah, Din confides in Kuiil, letting him know that his ship has been destroyed, but Kuiil says that Jawa was still not destroyed, and Kuiil proposes a trade with them. Din thinks he is out of his mind, but Kuiil has spoken, and when he speaks, that's it.
Yeah.
The whole time Grogu is just getting that frog, and
it's so good. I love getting to finally see some of his personality, learning his little quirks and mannerisms. I mean, he's like a kid. He's like, look, we've essentially been on a road trip for a day or whatever. I'm hungry. You're not paying attention to me the way like a caretaker should.
Give me a frog,
So
please.
I need some of these things that children need.
But this is a running bit throughout the series. Grogu really likes frogs. And I think now we know why Yoda really picked Dagobah to hide out on. Because he was eating everything there.
It's practically like it's a buffet. It's a smorgasbord.
Yeah. Then we cut to them traveling at night through a rainstorm as Kuiil pulls them on the hover sled. Again, that music when it's playing, it's just so good. Dun, 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 dun.
They really nail the like Western atmosphere with the music in all of the Arvella 7 sequences, I think.
Oh, yeah.
In particular, they lean into the Wild West score.
Absolutely. It's so good. Especially these first 2 episodes, like you said. So yeah, the next morning they approach the Jawa clan and Kuiil is welcomed by them. He can speak their language, but as soon as they see Din, they get pretty upset, and understandably, right? Yeah. Like this guy just disintegrated a few of their family members, and then Din like mentions like, yeah, maybe I did do that. And Quill's like, what? You can't do that.
He came in and like single-handedly shook up the power dynamics within this clan of Jawas. Like probably took out a chieftain, the rival chieftain's heir, not
just the men, but the women.
But the women
and the children too.
So I mean, I understand why they're pretty wary of him.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Kuiil tells Din to drop his weapons, but Din says that he can't. It's part of his religion. But if he doesn't, he's not getting his stuff back. So reluctantly, he complies. Then the bidding begins. And the Jawas, I love it for them. They start big. They say, we want your Mandalorian armor.
Yep. It's
Give
shiny.
That to us.
We want it. Because, like, what are they going to do with it? I mean, I guess they could use the raw materials for things or sell the scrap or whatever. You know,
I like the idea of them, like, 3 on top of each other wearing the Mandalorian armor.
Yeah. In Star Wars Hunters, there's a hunter you can play as that's actually 2 Jawas named Tutini. And it's one on top of each other's shoulders and they switch.
Amazing.
One of those could be wearing Mandalorian armor. Like, the helmet up top, the breastplate on the bottom one. I could see that.
Tutinis.
Yeah. Tutini.
Love it. Yeah, so Din says they can't do that. Sorry, can't give up my Mandalorian armor. Din tries speaking with him and absolutely gets roasted by a Jawa for sounding like a Wookiee.
It might be Utuni. It might be Utuni. I may be misremembering the name. I only played Star Wars Hunters for a little bit. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
Back to what you were saying. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Really, it's fine.
No, so yeah,
Glad you thought that whatever you had to say was more important. that was the that was the vibe you just gave.
Dude, I interrupt you constantly. It's fine. So yeah, they basically are making fun of Din for the way he sounds. They're saying, you sound like a Wookiee. Immediately, Din shoots his flamethrower at them. Kuiil has to restrain him, and the Mandalorian armor's a no-go. So what else? They ask for Grogu next.
Yeah. So the next, like, unattainable thing.
It's okay. You can't give us the Mandalorian armor. How about that kid?
Yeah.
We want him.
The second most important thing to you at the moment.
No, can't do that. So Din won't let them near him. So they talk for a bit, and then they ask that he obtain the egg for them. Suga. Suga.
Suga. Suga.
I love it. So this is where we get our side quest, and this is where, like, we kind of fall into a pattern in the show where this is a thing where, like, in modern day television shows, they don't do this thing where it's you have one through line and you're following it all the way through, like Andor, right?
Yeah.
Like you're from A to B, you're going.
Every moment matters to every moment, basically.
The Mandalorian is designed very much like a video game.
Yeah.
where you've got different levels of bosses, but you also have a ton of side quests, and Din takes every single one of them. This man is going for 100% completion on the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a callback to all the things that inspired Star Wars in the first place. All the serials that George Lucas grew up, like that's how they operate a lot of the times. Like sometimes they're adventures that go into the next, and like they're always, by the serial nature, they're always picking up after the other one. But like this episode is kind of going to be this. This episode is going to be. That's such an older convention of TV that I think has fallen off in a bad way. Like,
yeah, I
think
agree.
The criticism of shows becoming like side questy or whatever has hindered storytellers from diving into this, but it can be done really well because like. I think some stories are better told, like, I mean, in particular, long-term character arcs, character dynamics developing between each other, those kind of things. They actually are better, like, they're easier developed over time through other stories, through other activities. You want to strengthen or change this character dynamic? Put them in a situation they've never been in before together.
Make them sing a musical.
Exactly. And so there's all kinds of stuff that can, I think a show that does a fantastic job of it is Firefly, where you have all these longer running arcs between characters or character development or the overall thing of like the Doctor and River and them being hunted by the Federation or whatever it is. But then you have, while all that's going on, one episode is them going to a minor town where one of their crew members is a folk hero and stuff like that. So like these weird, unrelated plots that advance the longer form arcs and stuff, just maybe not directly. And I think that's something that's kind of been lost in modern television. But The Mandalorian does it fantasticonnectedly.
I do think that we're starting to shift back to that a little bit. Like I think the interconnectedness of stories has gotten to a point where people are over that. I think people are kind of over like having to watch everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's another indicator of like what they're doing with the Mandalorian and Grogu is really smart. Where it's like we're just going kind of back to the basics. This is not going to be something that's season 4 necessarily of the show, even though like they kind of adapted season 4, but this is back to what we know of season 1, right? We're going back to that model. And I think that's really smart because I think if anything, the box office from this past summer was a huge indicator of, I think the audience is kind of tired of, don't come after me, but Marvel movies, especially Marvel movies, but like Superman didn't do as good.
Just clean up. Like critically, I think it was a massive success. In terms of its impact on audiences, but box office numbers, that's not a direct correlation. And that's something that the industry cares about too much because there's so many variables that affect box office numbers.
How about the fact that it costs $50 just to go to the movies?
Right. Or just like all the other entertainment options that people are already having to pay for more and more in subscription formats, so they don't have the necessary income to do like one-off things like going to the movies because they've already got 3 streaming services at home they're paying for no matter what. So like might as well stay home and watch those. Or just like, like people are kind of tired of the capes and stuff, and those movies have had a certain quality indication lately. Like I think superhero movies have kind of been in a dip. So, I mean, even that, like having nothing to do with Superman or DC or James Gunn's new initiatives and stuff, all that stuff floods into who's showing up at the movie theater, So box office is important, but it's not everything.
Okay, just poo-poo on my theory then.
But I do, it is a big indicator.
Don't placate me. Don't you dare do that. How dare you?
I said all of that in support of your points, not in opposition to them.
Sure you did. No, but I sorry, this is kind of a side quest of a conversation we're having right now. But like, I think superhero movies are in the tail end of things. I'm curious to see if Star Wars is impacted by that or not, because it has been 6 years since the movie theater experience of Star Wars. And I think what they're doing with Starfighter is really smart, like going for the star power and like get Ryan Gosling. You're going to get people who watch Starfighter who have never seen a Star Wars movie because Ryan Gosling's in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a smart kind of like...
I've never seen a Star Wars movie, but I'm going to watch that one because Ryan Gosling's in it.
You're a huge Gosling guy. That's what we call it. Yeah, we're Gosling guys.
I've seen every episode of The Mandalorian and Andor and Ahsoka, but I've never seen a Star Wars film. There's
people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's totally out of the realm of possibility, but I was just thinking like we could have like a podcast called Gosling Guys. It'd be like Gilmore Girls.
But
yeah.
Okay. And we just watch Ryan Gosling movies.
Starting with the Mickey Mouse Mouseketeer thing.
All the way through Drive to Barbie to Starfighter. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we'll do that. Gosling Guys coming next year sometime. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, we'll do that in all of our free time when we're not doing our main podcast or our other side podcast about DC called The Watchtower or anything like that.
Or anything like that. Yeah. Jeez. So yeah, off they go into the sand crawler, which inside is hilarious to me. It looks like some
crouch so far.
But it looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book, like inside.
Well, it should be. Jawas are whimsical, goofy little guys. That's
when they're not being killed.
Yeah.
When they're not being killed. So they come up on a series of rocky formations, and Din and Grogu leave and head towards the cave. And Mac, this is a very unfortunate looking cave.
And it just, every time I watch this episode, it impresses itself upon me more how anatomically accurate that cave looks. Just like a biology diagram. Just looking at me. Just staring at me. That's what it looks like.
You can't unsee it.
Nope.
You can't unsee it. Every time I see this episode, I'm like, well, there's the cave.
And there it is. And like, in the production design meetings and all the post work and everything, like so many people signed off on this. And I just have to imagine they all did it with a little giggle. Like they're like, yeah, just go with that. Yeah, just,
Hey, what if we make it look like this?
Yeah.
Nobody will notice.
Except that's all anybody can talk about. It's for days. That's all that looks like.
Yeah. So Din draws his weapon and heads inside as Grogu waits outside. Inside, he turns on his helmet light and sees several bones. And then he encounters the Mudhorn. He's knocked out of the den very violently, and Din just absolutely gets waylaid the entire fight. Like he doesn't do well. He doesn't he doesn't do well in this fight. And he starts using Grogu a bit like a video game level of like
I thought exactly about the PlayStation 1 / PC Spider-Man Activision game.
Oh, I know exactly
where
what
you're fighting the Rhino.
Yep.
And you have to position yourself in front of a wall and jump over him as he slams himself into the wall. And that's exactly what Din does here.
Many frustrated tears when I was a child playing that game.
Yeah, it was a good one, but it was a tough one.
It was tough. And when Din is on his knees, he pulls out his vibro knife and waits for the end when suddenly the Mudhorn is lifted into the air with the Force. Grogu has saved the day, and Din is shocked, and he uses his opportunity to kill it. Now, I also remember watching this for the first time. It's like, so okay. Like, not only is this Yoda species, of course, we could probably surmise that he could use the Force, but this is using the Force in a huge way because he's a baby and lifting up a whole living creature. Luke had trouble just lifting up a couple rocks.
Right. And I'm sure, like, some of it is Grogu almost doesn't know any better not to put everything he has into this one action. It's that childlike... lack of restraint, or it's also kind of like when a you know, 90-pound mother lifts a Suburban off of her child, you know?
Right.
It's that kind of thing. I think he sees Din, who's been the only like positive force in his life for a long time, and wants to do everything he can to save him. Yeah. So I think that's why Grogu as a baby is able to do this, in addition to the fact that, you know, it's the natural affinity for the force his species seems to have.
That's a great point. So Grogu gets worn out from using the Force, falls back into the pram, and passes out. Din returns and retrieves the egg from the mud and the straw. It looks absolutely disgusting in there. Suga! Back at the Sandcrawler, the Jawas are about to pack up when Din and Grogu crest over the hill with the egg, and immediately they rush him, take the egg, cutting it right in half, like just like a hibachi chef, just... And it's the stuff of nightmares when they just start devouring the yolk,
like zombies eating someone's brain directly out of their skull. Does that
yes.
track?
No,
that was the fever with which they were eating this egg.
But it also makes me wonder, like, are they starving?
Maybe.
Not only are they being picked off by Din, but they're in a state of like not eating.
I think this egg has particular intoxicating qualities to the Jawas. This seemed like revelry here more
like
than
mushrooms.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
I think they're all getting.
Let's forget about our troubles.
Lifted.
We've lost so many family members.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy this Suga.
They're going the Mon Mothma way of dealing with a really tough time.
Okay, so we've got to create that clip where we're playing the music where they're just
eating the egg.
And just like that effect of like
the
everything's
Nymos,
like
all right, that's fun. Yeah.
That's good. Later, they return to the ship after recovering the parts from the Jawas, and Kuiil asks about Grogu, and Din tells him about what happened, and they're both confused at his powers. And then we get a great montage of them repairing the ship together. And Mac, Jon Favreau loves an 80s style montage like nobody else.
Yep. We got the flashback / forging montage in Chapter 1. With the armorer. That was a very, you know, it was a lot like this. You're watching a process happen, intercutting it with the things of Din's past and everything. This, you know, without the flashback aspect, but still a montage. Steven Spielberg is a filmmaker who's been credited as being kind of the master of like the process sequence. I think of like them assembling the shark cage in Jaws and stuff like that. He's very good at showing these processes of things coming together and characters, you know, kind of their dynamics through that whole process in an abbreviated way. But yeah, Jon Favreau's very good at that as well. Lots of montages in The Mandalorian.
But it's like an 80s one. Like, it just reminds me of Rocky, honestly. Like any of the training montages from Rocky. And I don't know if Carl had any influence over that because he was a part of so many of those in his time in the Rocky franchise. But
there's actually some musical overlap in some of the string work between the Rocky score and The Mandalorian. It's like the
Yep.
So yeah, that's
and then Ludwig went on to do the Creed music, which was a continuation of Rocky.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of overlap there, but yeah, it sounds like Rocky.
Yeah,
in many respects. So once it's fixed, Din offers him to be. He offers part of his reward for helping him so much, but Kuiil refuses. He was a guest, and then he offers Kuiil to be a member of the crew. But he has worked a lifetime of servitude, and he will do so no longer. He's basically saying, "Dude, I'm retired."
Yeah, I was working in the carbonite pit on Cloud City. Ever since the days of the Empire, I've done my time. Because I do get the sense that the Ugnaughts as a people have been exploited by the Empire, and much like the Wookiees, I think in that same way. So Kuiil is looking at the other side of that, and he's like, I don't want anything that looks like a chain. I don't want.
And good on him.
Yeah,
good on him. Even though I would have loved for him to be like in every episode.
Yeah, me too. But it's harder to do with the way he's brought to life as a character, the puppetry animatronics and stuff.
Right. So he thanks Kuiil, and Kuiil thanks him for bringing peace to the valley. Din heads to the cockpit, and Kuiil waves goodbye as they fly off into space. Din turns and watches the sleeping child, and Din is just thinking, how can I take this precious little baby and hand it over to Werner Herzog? There's no way I can do this. So like you already are getting the indication before the next episode that Din is having second thoughts, and it's that hope that kind of draws you in and will make you tune in for the next episode next week.
Right. Yeah, and it is literally like Din's witnessed a miracle. It's like in Pulp Fiction when Jules, sees the act of divine intervention or whatever, and it completely rattles him, and he has to like change his whole way of life. I almost think that's kind of where Din's at. He's seen something he just can't explain. But the only thing he knows is that he can't just keep going along doing what he was doing before. Like he's got to make some kind of choice. Like witnessing this event and this kind of being demands a response from him. And I think he's just trying to kind of figuring out what that response is going to be.
And I think by the end of these first two episodes, how could you not be hooked into the story? I think what these initial two episodes did so well is draw in people who were not typically Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what Star Wars is about? I'm in. And I think that's what The Mandalorian does better than any of them, Andor included, of like getting at the spirit of what Star Wars is.
Yeah. I mean, because I think Star Wars is inherently political, but
I'm not saying
telling political stories with the intricacies of how that all works just from a narrative perspective, it does take us away from just this aspect of like heroes, villains, there's good, there's bad, there's
the mythological side of it, I think is what I'm hinting at.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I agree. Star Wars, The Mandalorian is political.
Right.
Like it's just inherently always going to be that way. And if you don't think that it is, you've got your fingers in your ear, and you're not paying attention. But like, I think what The Mandalorian does so well is it captures that magic that you felt watching the original trilogy for the first time. Yeah. Specifically, the original trilogy, I think, is what they're trying to evoke. And I think they do a really good job of that, of like the magic of Kuiil, right? Or Grogu. Just feeling like, I know at some level that these are not real things, but I care for them as if they are real. And that is the magic of Star Wars to me. That's something that George Lucas did such a good job at, is just making you care so much about these characters. And I think by the end of this episode, you care.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Even in an episode that, seemingly doesn't have tons to do with the long game plot, but it does. Like, this episode's so important in setting up the foundation of Grogu and Din's relationship, and I can't wait to get into Chapter 3 next week and talk about how a lot of this stuff kind of resolves or doesn't resolve.
Chapter 3, the sin.
Yeah, and that's a huge episode. I'm so excited to get into that. I can't wait for just for fans of Mandalorians. Episode 3 is a great one.
It's a good one. It also we didn't know this at the time, but it completes a story arc within the season. Yeah, like we didn't know that was going to be a thing when it was coming out, but like those first 3 episodes are kind of its own thing, and then it moves on to a different set. And I think, again, that's a unique, really cool structure that you don't see in modern television a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been a fantastic breakdown of Chapter 2, The Child, of The Mandalorian. We're going to be continuing our Mandalorian rewatch next week with Chapter 3, The Sin, as we just said. This has been a blast. I love talking about The Mandalorian. It really feels like we've come home in a lot of ways. Of course, we want to hear your thoughts and everything. You can call and leave a voicemail at 205-259-6675. Call and leave a voicemail. Try to keep it under 3 minutes. That's just when the system will cut you off. And then you could hear your thoughts on the show. Alex is distracting me on the video. If you want to see any of that, check us out on YouTube. We also have a lot of cool interviews and stuff, especially from Andor on YouTube. And keep an eye over there. You never know what kind of cool content we've got in the works that could pop up over there. If you want more of our content, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Mandalorian Watch. For just $2, you get access to like over 100 bonus episodes, and then the Discord community that we have. It's a great time over there. And then if you like what we do, leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That helps the show grow and find more viewers as well, and listeners. So do all that. We're so thankful for your continued participation in the Mandalorian Rewatch. Can't wait to see you next week for Chapter 3. But until then, keep the watch.